This person received a divine secret exam about you, and you will be stunned by why they fell short. There are precise times in existence when an individual steps into your reality, not through chance or coincidence, but via a sacred design. Feel this powerful connection deeply. You did not fabricate the connection you sensed. You did not overanalyze the hints. You were not mistaken for sensing that this individual felt uniquely special. The reality is that God assigned this individual a concealed exam involving you sensed the divine timing here, and they had no idea they faced judgment. Before we explore why they fell short, you need to grasp one crucial truth. This exam never focused on flawlessness. It was not focused on wealth, appearance, years. Notice the deeper purpose, position, or schedule. It centered on the heart. This was the exam they never knew they faced. God frequently evaluates individuals silently, not through obvious signals or major alerts, but through minor instances. These instances are so subtle that most realize their significance them. This individual faced testing in their treatment of you during your open and exposed state. You stayed calm. You did not issue ultimatums or pursue them. Embrace your true presence. You simply arrived as your authentic self. When God introduces someone into your path who holds illumination, insight, or profound emotions, open your heart to it. Not all understand how to receive that blessing. That marks the turning point where the exam starts. You served as the reflection they dreaded facing. Here is a truth rarely discussed. Sometimes God introduces an individual not to fulfill us, but to expose what remains broken inside another. Your energy triggered hidden layers, activated issues in them like past traumas, dread of dedication, dread of losing command, or dread of full visibility. You did not wound them or bewilder them. You mirrored them. Rather than advancing, they pushed back. That pushback, that withdrawing, and that unreliability formed the exam and the initial manner they fell short. They selected ease instead of development. God observed their response to emotional intensity. Would they step forward or retreat into safety? You demanded truthfulness, emotional bravery, and engagement. Rather than behaving with wisdom, they picked the simple route. They picked separation over dialogue, quiet over honesty, and pride over modesty. Development demands effort, and this individual lacked readiness for development. They fell short, not since they were malicious, but since they lacked preparation. The second manner they fell short involved failing to safeguard what was sacred. When God introduces someone precious into your path, the exam stays straightforward. Will you safeguard them, or will you dismiss them lightly? This individual encountered testing in their words about you and their handling of your emotions. They encountered testing on defending the link or questioning it. Rather than respecting what God positioned before them, they challenged it. Rather than nurturing the tie, they disregarded it. God detects disregard equally to disloyalty. The third manner they fell short came through allowing anxiety to guide their decisions. Anxiety ranks among the chief causes individuals falter in sacred exams. This covers anxiety of dedication, duty, or forfeiting independence. Instead of surrendering their anxiety to God, they heeded it fully. When anxiety turns into the guide you obey, you depart from favors without realizing it. They did not forfeit you since they lacked concern. They forfeited you since they lacked faith in God's activity. This held zero connection to your value. Please pay close attention since this section matters. Their shortfall did not mirror your importance. You served as the task and they served as the learner, and not all succeed in the exam. Some individuals encounter their fate and freeze. Some individuals encounter affection and flee from it. Some individuals encounter a sacred link and destroy it. You stayed stable, genuine, and enduring. That indicates you succeeded in your role. Just because the exam concluded does not indicate the narrative has ended. God operates through various methods. At this moment you receive safeguarding. elevation and guidance toward fresh paths. They receive instruction. Whether they recognize it or not, existence now presents the instruction they decline to absorb via you. Remorse serves as a potent instructor. Quiet can sound powerful and lack can uncover reality. Will they grasp what they forfeited? Frequently, they do. But grasping it does not necessarily mean reuniting. Sometimes God permits individuals to appreciate the importance of something solely once it vanishes. This occurs not so they reclaim it, but so they develop via the encounter. Sometimes God withdraws an individual since they might have hindered your advancement. The true favor was not the individual. It was the insight you acquired. You obtained lucidity, power, and knowledge. Now you stand unavailable for partial affection, unclear cues, or bewilderment. You align with something elevated now, and God avoids repeating the identical exam. Here comes a closing note for you. If you hear this, realize you never needed to plead for what God had already endorsed. The individual fell short in the exam not since you proved excessive, but since they lacked preparedness for what you held. Rely on the journey, rely on the withdrawal, and rely on the quiet. What God arranges ahead will avoid forcing you to question your importance. When the suitable individual appears, there will exist no bewilderment, no anxiety, and no fleeing, solely tranquility. Welcome to Psychology Fact. If you seek the concealed realities of the psyche and spirit, ensure you subscribe and activate the bell icon so you never overlook a fact that might transform how you perceive existence. When an individual falters in a sacred exam involving you, the narrative avoids concluding with their departure. In truth, that typically marks when the strongest segment of your path starts. After the exam finishes, God initiates a procedure of profound restoration and readiness for you. While the other individual enters a period of education via loss, you could experience a feeling of void or question why events needed to conclude thus. But you need to grasp that your area undergoes clearing for something far greater. God currently shifts elements behind the curtain that remain invisible to you now. This interval of quiet is not discipline for you. It functions as safeguarding. The following stage of your existence concerns advancement. Because you remained authentic to yourself amid testing, you attained an advanced stage of wisdom. You demonstrated capability to manage a profound link with truth and elegance. This indicates you now undergo preparation for an individual who succeeded in their personal exams. Someone who avoids fleeing when matters intensify or concealing when they sense exposure. You undergo redirection from a route that would only deliver additional bewilderment and toward a route of complete tranquility. While you advance, the individual who faltered often remains to confront the burden of their decisions. Often they fail to appreciate the importance of what they possessed until the sacred safeguarding around the link gets lifted. Once they lose entry to your vitality, your compassion, or your radiance, they begin sensing the actual void left behind. Existence will keep delivering them identical instructions until they decide to cease fleeing and begin developing. This does not concern you worrying or repairing. Your sole duty now involves maintaining your spirit receptive for the favor approaching soon. The resolution you seek lies not in dialogue with them, but in the tranquility you sense when you grasp you no longer must demonstrate your importance to someone unprepared to notice it. You enter a period where your importance gains acknowledgement without you needing to clarify it. This fresh section will feature lucidity and reliability. You will shortly grasp that the withdrawal of that individual proved truly the supreme present you could obtain, since it created space for affection that stays firm, a tie that stays protected, and a tomorrow that shines. Identifying the suitable individual upon arrival marks the concluding phase of this path. After you recover from the individual who faltered in the exam, God will introduce someone who avoids demanding you diminish yourself or conceal your radiance. This fresh individual will avoid viewing your emotional intensity as a load or danger. Instead, they will regard it as a gem. You will recognize them as correct since you will lack any urge to pursue them or question your position. The worry and bewilderment from earlier will give way to a serene feeling of fitting in. This serves as the prize for remaining loyal to your personal importance amid periods of quiet and evaluation. The suitable individual has likewise traversed their personal trials. They mastered honesty with themselves, which enables honesty with you. When God links two individuals who both succeeded in their exams, the tie grows far firmer than anything from before, with no pride or control battle since both have yielded to an elevated aim. You will observe that dialogue moves smoothly and deeds align with statements. There exists a natural safeguarding over the bond, because both grasp that their possession represents a present from God. You will additionally discover that this fresh link speeds your aim instead of diverting you from it. The unsuitable individual causes loss of concentration on your aim since you stay occupied attempting to repair the bond. The suitable individual positions alongside you and motivates your development. They avoid fearing your achievements or your power since they feel secure in their identity. This represents the sacred harmony you underwent preparation for throughout. Every dismissal and every unsuccessful exam from earlier simply cleared the route so you might proceed toward this instant free of any load. Maintain your chin raised and your spirit prepared. Avoid glancing backward at those unprepared to journey alongside you. Their leaving proved essential so your grasp would stay vacant and prepared to accept what approaches soon. You surpass the former habits and now advance into a period of satisfaction. The tranquility you sense currently confirms you occupy precisely the needed location. The narrative continues. It is merely approaching the finest segment. Remaining enduring amid this pause period forms the concluding element of your sacred development. It feels simple to sense unease when you notice the area surrounding you stays vacant. But you must recall that God employs the quiet to construct your character. This duration is not squandered duration. It is readiness duration. If the favor arrived prior to your preparedness, you might lack the power to retain it. Through causing your wait, God guarantees that when the proper entrance unlocks, you will possess the insight to proceed through it and the wisdom to remain. You undergo instruction on happiness independently, so your coming happiness avoids relying on another individual but shares with them. Amid this period, you receive a call to concentrate on yourself and your personal route. This marks when you polish your abilities, mend your leftover injuries, and fortify your bond with the sacred. When you concentrate on your personal radiance, you instinctively draw individuals operating at identical vibration. If you devote your duration glancing backward at the individual who faltered, you could overlook the individual presently approaching you. Rely that God's schedule surpasses your personal timetable. What belongs to you will never bypass you, and it will never demand you sacrifice your spirit to retain it. You must additionally master trusting the refusal and the not now. Sometimes we believe readiness for the following move, but God perceives a tempest approaching that we cannot perceive. The postponement often acts as armor. Rather than questioning why it delayed, begin expressing thanks to God for the safeguarding you obtain. Meanwhile, your spirit undergoes conditioning to manage elevated levels of delight. The more you embrace this tranquility, the quicker you will grasp that you no longer match the individual from before. You have grown tougher, smarter, and far more perceptive. Shortly, the pause will conclude and the shift will feel so effortless that you will question why concern ever arose. You will glance backward at this precise instant and grasp that all unfolded flawlessly. The individual who faltered in the exam fulfilled their role by propelling you toward your elevated self. Now you stand at the conclusion of that prior instruction and at the commencement of a fresh existence. Remain calm, remain assured, and stay prepared. Your narrative undergoes authorship by the supreme writer of everything, and the coming sections appear more lovely than you envision. The concluding grasp you will obtain is that the whole encounter represented a present of lucidity. You no longer need to speculate on affection's appearance since you witnessed its opposite. Through observing someone falter in the exam of your importance, you obtained a special ability named perception. You can now detect unreliability from afar, and you no longer sense any drive to repair individuals dedicated to remaining damaged. This internal power represents your genuine prize. You exchanged your bewilderment for a profound, steady assurance. You now understand that your importance avoids debate and your spirit avoids serving as practice area for the unready. As you advance into this fresh radiance, you will observe your surroundings starting to transform. The individuals present only temporarily will naturally disappear, and fresh, more encouraging spirits will start emerging. This represents the rule of harmony. When you cease accepting less, the cosmos ceases providing less. You will begin drawing chances and bonds that correspond to your fresh stage of self-regard. You no longer function as someone pleading for notice. You function as someone demanding respect merely through authenticity. The burdensome load you formerly bore, the load of striving to suffice for the unsuitable individual, has at last lifted from your back. You now enter a period of reaping. Everything you sowed amid sorrow, endurance, and supplication begins sprouting. You will discover existence feels easier and your root feels sharper. The marks from earlier avoid signifying disgrace, but honors of bravery that prove you endured the exam. You did not merely survive it, you developed through it. Now you can gaze at your image and grin, understanding you stand complete and full independently. This completeness prepares you for the magnificent elements ahead. You finally stand prepared to accept affection that avoids pain and tranquility that avoids departing. The path extended far, but the arrival justifies every instant of the challenge. You represent the protagonist of this narrative, and you finally grasped that you served as the reward throughout. The individual who departed did not merely forfeit you, they forfeited the opportunity to witness your evolution. But you forfeited nothing whatsoever. You discovered yourself, and that represents the supreme triumph of everything. Continue advancing with chin elevated, since your finest times avoid lying behind. They position directly ahead, awaiting your arrival. This fresh section of your existence features a tranquility you never encountered earlier. When you ultimately attain this level, you will glance backward at prior suffering and view it as an essential crossing to your present power. The individual who faltered in the exam acted merely as a shade that aided your appreciation of radiance. You will grasp that if they had remained, you would stay trapped in a loop of demonstrating your importance to someone who stayed unaware of it. Their departure truly meant your freedom. Now your vitality avoids depletion by uncertainty or hesitation. Instead, it builds the existence you always envisioned. You will begin noticing your instinct feels keener than ever because you mastered relying on God's design over personal wishes. You hear your internal guidance more distinctly. This guidance will direct you toward individuals beneficial for your spirit and away from those merely present to extract. You no longer fall easily for appealing statements, since you now seek the results of someone's deeds. This wisdom serves as your defense. It guarantees you will never again accept a link demanding you abandon yourself. You have grown the protector of your personal tranquility, and you grasp that your spirit represents a holy area only the deserving may access. As you proceed, the cosmos will start mirroring your fresh internal realm. Entrances will unlock that you never approached, and individuals will emerge who handle you with the compassion and reliability you merit. You will discover yourself in spaces where you receive celebration, not mere acceptance. This marks the wonder of succeeding in the sacred exam. When you demonstrate willingness to release what harms you, you prove readiness for what benefits. You now attract authentic affection and sincere achievement. Everything taken during the period of challenge returns to you in superior shape. Your narrative now embodies triumph and motivation. You demonstrate that quiet avoids concluding, and that withdrawal from someone's existence can represent the supreme elevation. You exchange sorrow for a profound, serene delight no one can remove. This marks your moment to radiate, to develop, and to savor the outcomes of your loyalty. You shifted from the exam to the witness. Rest in the awareness that your tomorrow stays secure. Your spirit mended and your finest existence unfolds presently in this exact instant. The concluding shift in this path involves moving from awaiting transformation to embodying the transformation. You will discover you no longer seek outside confirmation since you uncovered a profound source of endorsement inside yourself. This level makes your aim vividly obvious. You begin grasping that the suffering you face served not solely your personal development, but to transform you into a beacon for others still adrift in the turmoil of perplexing bonds. Your narrative of departing from what stayed damaged and rising firmly in your importance becomes guidance for those still hesitant to release. You advanced past endurance and into true command over your personal existence. In this stage, you will observe your criteria rising naturally without effort. It does not mean you turned icy or removed, but that you grew quite particular about who joins your circle. You no longer sense forfeiture when someone mismatches your route. Instead, you sense liberation. You grasp that God functions as the supreme sieve, and anyone unsuited for your tomorrow gets sieved automatically. This spares you years of lost duration and emotional vitality. You now freely direct all that affection and energy back into your personal aims, your personal wellness, and your personal tranquility. Everything in your existence will begin feeling more purposeful. The manner you begin your days, the manner you address yourself, and the manner you confront difficulties will all mirror someone aware of deep affection from the sacred. You no longer react to existence, you respond to it with insight. Even if the individual who faltered in the exam attempts return, you will discover you no longer share the identical vibration. You can extend them pardon from afar without permitting disruption to your balance. You surpassed the former version of yourself, and that former version of them no longer belongs in the lovely reality you constructed. You now stand in the complete radiance of your fate. The exam fades as memory and the instructions integrated permanently into your spirit. You proceed with fresh assurance, the type arising from surviving flames and emerging as gold. Your spirit opens widely, your thoughts stay keen, and your essence rests. You officially transitioned from the period of doubting into the period of certainty. This represents your existence, completely renewed and superior to earlier. You prepare for everything approaching, and you merit every individual favor arriving at your entrance. As you accept this fresh manner of living, you will observe your achievement extends beyond bonds, but encompasses your complete life route. When you cease directing your vitality towards someone unable to notice your importance, that vitality remained yours. Now you possess concentration to conclude tasks begun long before, and bravery to pursue aims that once seemed oversized.